The holy waters of the blackened sea.
Billy Reeves, Kscope podcast here. A pleasure to have your company. Welcome to London, well, northwest London's Bohemian Quarter, Camden Town. Very important that. It's not Camden, that's the London Borough, Camden Town, the area we're in. You find us at the Stables Market, the legendary venue of Dingwalls. Been here since 1978, a venue that's seen all the rock and punk greats over the years. We're here to speak to that mélange best served cold, Gazpacho, the newest members of the Kscope family. There's quite a few people inside already because it's quite an early show. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip backstage and speak to the people who count and ask them about their new LP for Kscope, Missa Atropos. So can you introduce yourself, please, gentlemen, and what you do within the group?
I'm Jan, and I am the singer of Gazpacho, and that's basically what I do.
I'm John, I play the guitar in Gazpacho.
And I'm Tom, and I play the keyboards in Gazpacho.
It's nice to meet you all, gentlemen. I guess the first thing I've got to ask you is, on tour at the moment, which is a rare thing, have you ever played in London before, or is this your first time?
We played in Islington. In Islington Academy a year ago. Just a one-off gig there on our TikTok tour, and that's basically it.
Okay, what's been the highlight of the tour so far? What's been the upside of it?
If there's been one.
Fall. John has a ski injury, which he had a ski injury a week before we went on tour, and we were filming one of our gigs with a Zoom recorder. And during this particular gig, his leg gave under him while he was on stage. And I was looking out. I'm behind John on stage. And he just went down like a tree. And all of a sudden he wasn't there. And I looked at him, he was lying on the ground, smiling. He looked like a dead hamster, but a smiling dead hamster. And we have the fall on tape, and it looks fantastic.
Well,
it just goes down.
A real stage dive.
He just collapses. It's like one of these demolitions you see, the buildings you see on the controlled demolitions. You know, so he just collapsed, and we have the audio and the video to prove it. We're obviously giving it to you guys.
Thank you. So presumably that's the only thing that would happen to a Norwegian band, of course, a ski injury. I was going to ask you what the worst thing about the tour has been. Is that the worst thing as well?
Well, for me, probably. For me personally, I mean, because we after the fall, then I think 4 of my strings were untuned. So basically, I had to. Well, the show had to go on. So I continue my solo, and we call it now the cat solo because it was completely out of tune. So I guess it's both. It's the worst moment for me, but the best moment for the band. So that's
Good man. And the audience. How did the audience react to it?
Well, he wouldn't know because
I was in my own little world at that moment, so I
act.
don't know. Everybody asked, what happened? What happened? Ah, skiing injury. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was.
You poor boy. I guess we should also move on to now the concept of the new record, because it's quite a heavy one. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about it. But first and foremost, for those that don't know anything about it, can you explain a little bit about the narrative that runs through the new record?
I guess Thomas would be the right man to ask. Actually,
It's inspired by him.
actually, because he.
Well, when we're making the new album, then usually when we make albums, we always make the music first. And then we try to find a concept that will fit the music. Because this assures that it's always difficult to write music to something as opposed to just having a piece of music and fitting the lyrics in. So in this case, when we had some of the demos ready, I was reading a book by a man called Anthony Storr. He's an English psychiatrist. And he'd written a book called Solitude, which is about some of the famous characters from history and philosophers and musicians and writers, and how solitude was a part of how they needed to live to create their work. And I thought that was a really interesting concept, and I think everyone has at some point in their life dreamt of going away and just leaving everything behind and moving to a deserted island or off to live in a cabin in the woods, Unabomber style. So I figured, what if...
It was so sweet, but suddenly really sinister.
Edit that one out.
Yeah, I am smiling. And so I thought, what if a man went and lived on a lighthouse? And on this lighthouse, cut all ties to his family, went to live on the lighthouse, and tried to write a mass for Atropos, which is the Greek god of cutting all ties. It's one of the three daughters of night, one of the three fates, who one measures the length of your rope, one weaves it, I think, and Atropos is the one that cuts it when your time is up. And that god is a great symbol of cutting all ties, which is what he does in the album. And the album, we tried to explore what that would be like. And the album actually has 3 of his attempted masses for Atropos, and I don't think he manages to actually write one. So you get 3 of his unfinished attempts as he progresses along in his trip in solitude. And at the end there's a song called Splendid Isolation, which is his letter home, where he tries to explain why he did what he did.
So that's the leitmotif, but isn't that juxtaposed with how a group works? Because you're writing about a man who is isolated, or an artist that is isolated, and yet you have to create this as a joint project with many people. So how does the creative process work? You said you make the music first and then write the lyrics over the top. Is it as simple as that?
Yes, it is. It is as simple as that. And always we make lots of demos of just instrumental pieces. Then we try to put vocal on as many of them as possible and lose maybe 50 or 60% of them in the process. And then once we have some good tunes going, then we make it all fit the music that we have. And then once the lyrics are written, then we can rewrite the tracks to make it all fit into a story. So it's a process.
Would you insist on someone interacting with this record as an entire piece, or can people dip in and out of it in the way that you would dip in and out of a record in as separate tracks, or would you want people to listen to the narrative from beginning to end, as it were? A question for all 3 of you.
I think for this and for the previous 2 albums, Night and Take Stock, we would. It is written to be listened to as one piece of music, but then again, you see at the gigs where we break up that the series of songs and make new set lists like now, that it works, that people instantly that you can play them separately and they can be enjoyed separately, as long as they're part of the general vibe.
Is that what you're going to do tonight? Then you're going to play that record, or you're going to play old stuff as well?
We're going to do a combination of things, but as Jan-Henrik was saying, it's we don't play all of Missa as a piece.
Would you like to do that?
Sure. Yeah. We just have so much good material that we're going to fit everything in the evening.
Good answer, I thought. Tell us how important Marillion are to your career.
I think they're very important because they originally discovered us through a demo which got to Lucy, who's marketing manager at Marillion. We knew the guys liked our stuff. And we were invited to go and tour with them on their 2004 Marbles tour and support them in 33 gigs, I think. So that was a major lift in awareness of our band, and it certainly gave us a chance to get out and play to people and build a fan base, which has been growing steadily ever since.
Yeah, because you all do other things outside of the band. Does that mean you get freedom to pretty much do what you want with the music then? There's no
That's correct.
external pressures.
Well, there's no financial pressures at least. So this is not our main income. So that gives us full creativity.
And where do you do the best business then? Where are the big Gazpacho fan bases? Europe?
Yeah, Europe, and like we really want to do some legwork here as well, obviously, because the UK is a big market and we're pretty Anglophile, most of us. But Holland and Germany and France are the three big ones. But now Poland is really picking up. We went there in last September and had 3 packed houses Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it was that was fun. So we better move eastwards as well as westwards from the continent.
Markets.
Yeah.
Good. What about the States? Would you like to go to America?
Well, we were in the States in May and played at a festival there. Sure, but I don't think that's realistic. I think build a base in Europe to start off with, and don't spread your wings too much.
And what's going on in Norway then, chaps? What are the Norwegian acts that we should be checking out? Because you talk about being as Anglified. I think it's one of the sins really of British music is that we tend to look to the West, we tend to look to America, we tend to look to our own culture. Is there anything in Norway that we should be checking out?
There is a girl called Suzanne Sundfør.
Suzanne, how do you spell that?
Sundfor. Right. And I think she is a fantastic artist, and definitely is worth checking out. It is piano, art, rock. Kate Bush meets Torium's meets something else which I've never heard before.
Looking for the new Kate Bush, aren't we? And it ain't Florence and the Machine.
That's not the new Kate Bush, but this is the closest I've come to the new Kate Bush yet. And it's
the music industry would go crazy.
Yeah, but it's not already in the Kate Bush already way. It's different, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Well, that links nicely into my final question, actually, because the word art rock, or the hyphenated word art rock, does appear quite a lot on your website, on your Wikipedia page, which I know the fans do. Question for all three of you then: is what you do a branch of art or a branch of show business?
It's a branch of art, obviously. Because we, as we've talked about earlier, we do not do this out of the need for recognition or airplay or money, but to create something we think needs to be made.
But being on stage is part of the show business, though, isn't it?
I was just going to answer the last one. It's storytelling through music. This is basically what we do, and it's pretty original. I mean, obviously other bands do that well, but. Back in 2007, when we came with Night, we were at a kind of crossroads where we thought, okay, well, what are we going to do? What are we good at? We're good at storytelling, good at making moody music. Okay, well, let's dwell in this, and then we continued on from there.
That's a nice way of putting it. Final word. To anybody listening to this, why should they buy your record?
I think because it's an album which is written about them. So it's not about us, but it's an album which is designed so where they can put their own lives, hopefully will be willing to put their own lives into the stories that are happening there and make it fit situations from their own lives, from their own memories and what they feel.
Okay, so a universal theme of loneliness and being on your own?
No, not at all. No, I think our albums are about the listener. They are made so where the listener can dig in his own mind and get his own memories and his own. It's about his life. It's not about us.